Yo, what is going on, guys? We're back today for another video in our ranking series. Now, before we get into the rankings, I have to give the standard disclaimer that this is 1,000,000% my sole humble opinion. Legacy's opinion based off of almost 8 years playing this game. Pretty hardcore and pretty endgame. Now, that's not to say that all my opinions and everything I say is 100% correct or factual, because it's not. It's just my opinion based off of all of my experience and time playing this game, and it's totally cool to disagree. This game would be boring if we all agreed on everything, but all I ask is that we keep it respectful. Thank you. Let's get to the rankings. Alright guys, we're going to be jumping into the Cosmic class today. Definitely one of a personal favorite class of mine. Just so many cool champs, you know, and I just, like, Cosmic in my mind should be the most powerful class. Just because, like, these cosmic beings, you know, I think of, like, as the most powerful. That's just my headcanon here. But we do have some of the strongest champs in the game, in the Cosmic class anyways. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get started with these 6 stars. So, snuck in a 4th 6-star because I just couldn't forget about my boy Gallon. You know, he's at the end of all my videos, the outro. This guy's awesome. When a meta comes for Gallon to shine, you know, he truly does. With the armors, he will gain mass and then just be able to end fights so quickly with that. So any node where there's lots of armors, you know, Gallon's going to be your guy. Any node where there's power burn or any of these immunities that he has and they're triggering, he's your guy. He's immune to power drain, burn, lock, and special lock. So whenever those are trying to trigger on him, if he's awakened, you know, he's gonna just be gaining so much of his buffs, and that's gonna be gaining so much of his mass, and he just goes crazy. He can cheese those types of fights. Like this current Battlegrounds, or the last Battlegrounds meta that we just had, is a prime example of this, and Gallon was one of the best champions for it, used by all the top players in the world. Gallon was in every single one of their decks, and if you saw Gallon, you pretty much drafted him, because in a meta like that, he's just so good with all the armors. Now, outside of those metas, Gallon doesn't really get used too much, which is why he only barely made the list. However, I think as a 7-star, Gallon's pretty likely to be a 7-star, and I think he would scale extremely well as a 7-star as well, because the way Gallon works is, if you want more damage in your harvest, you know, if you throw on like the recoil masteries or some boosts, like a champion attack and health boost, that's not going to change anything for Gallon when it comes to his planetary mass big damage payout. You know, his harvest, when he detonates that, those boosts, those masteries, none of it's going to affect it. The only thing that's going to affect that is when you rank him up. So that's why Gallon was my first ever 6-star rank 5 champion, because that he gained some of the most benefit out of all the champions on my roster that I could rank up. Plus, I had a Cosmic Gem. But in the Cosmic class, I chose Gallon above all the others. Even though there's champions on this list that's going to be higher than him, I still picked him for rank 5 because he got so much out of it. Whereas Hulkling, you know, was so good already at rank 4. I mean, he didn't need the extra rank. Gallon really benefited from it. So Gallon as a 7-star, when he goes through those additional ranks, 7-star rank 1, 7-star rank 2, 7-star rank 3, that's going to be big harvest damage increases. But for right now, as a 6-star, he still is great. I really love Gallon. I really do. You know, he has immunity to Nullify, which is, I think, the only Cosmic champion that has that. It's a really nice piece of utility. Immunity to Fate Seal as well. So it's just like not a lot of the regular mystics can counter him, and he's also, you know, a great defender. Gallon can be a really, really good defender, especially again in certain metas, trap defender. In this last meta, he was a great attacker, but he's always also a great defender because of the buffs. You know, the armor buffs that he's gaining on defense is fueling his mass, fueling his harvest. So yeah, Gallon, really good all-around champion. He's a very, very well-rounded champion. Extremely good immunities. I highly rate Gallon. Love him. It's just the Cosmic class is so stacked, but I still had to mention him in this video. Had to squeak him on. So this will technically be a top 10 list with all the champions we mentioned today. But, yeah, Gallon's squeaking in there. Then the other champion that, or I guess let's stick with the 6 stars. Yeah, let's stick with the 6 stars. So the next 6-star that we have to talk about is Hercules. So, personally, I don't think Hercules is the best Cosmic 6-star in the game. Genuinely, I don't. I just simply don't. There are 2 6-star champions in particular in the Cosmic class that are above Hercules, in my opinion. Now, Hercules, without a doubt, is the most broken champ in the game. 100%. I'm not saying he's not. But I don't think he's the best. He may be the most broken, but he's not the best, in my opinion. He's not the most useful. He's definitely not my most used Cosmic 6-star champion. I use some other Cosmics way more. The only thing I use Hercules for, and all he's really good for me, is AQ. That's it. That's it. I bring him to AQ every day, and that's it. I don't use him anywhere else in game. I don't even have him on Leg Spiker. I didn't even want to pick him on Leg Spiker because he's so boring. For his cheesing stuff, just going in with 20% revives, getting through all content with Herc like that, I don't find that fun. I don't find that skillful. Personally, I think it's bad for the game because if people do that, if that's how people get through content, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's available in game. Go ahead, but you're harming yourself in the long run if you do that. And again, that's just my opinion. But, if you're just spamming 20% revives and getting through fights with your immortality, opposed to learning how fights work and executing them skillfully, you're just doing yourself a disservice because you're not going to get better at the game. Simple as that. If you don't use Hercules, you will get better at the game. And that's not to say that you can't get good with using Hercules. Just don't use him in the 20% revive spam way. Use him with his intercepts. Hercules is a great champion to really get better at with intercepting. And also special intercepting. Hercules has like a bit of a cheat special intercept. Like it's not an actual intercept everywhere else in the game. Like if you're using Hercules on ebb and flow intercept and you dash their attack, use your special, like you'll gain a feat of strength and get a special intercept for Hercules abilities, but for ebb and flow intercept and node, it won't count as an intercept. That's what I mean by that. But with the Infuriate, again, you can practice getting actual special intercepts. Like Hercules is definitely a good champion to get better at the game with if you use him correctly. But yeah, I just don't think he's the best. I just think there's other champions that are better and champions that I use way more. Which champions are those? Well, CGR is definitely one of them. Cosmic Ghost Rider. This guy is one of the big reasons why I have this title right here, my mythic title. This was from doing I think it was 8.2 Legends run, mythic run. I was top 5 fastest in the entire world because I used Cosmic Ghost Rider for a lot of those fights. He's that fast. He got me my mythic, big part in that. And the crazy thing about Cosmic Ghost Rider is like how relevant he is. I would say Cosmic Ghost Rider is more relevant today and now than when he first came out. And he was very good and relevant when he first came out. Like, that's insane that he feels more relevant today than when he came out. Because he's always been an incredibly powerful champion. But as of late, he just seems to be countering the really annoying defenders. Like Onslaught, Bullseye, Photon. Cosmic Ghost Rider can handle all of these champions. He's an alright option for Serpent as well. Definitely not the best or anything, but he can make do with that. Like, the fact that he's countering all these new meta defenders today, some of the most difficult defenders in the game, like, that is so insane. I think CGR is just so powerful. And then on the flip side of things, that's from like a super endgame perspective right now, getting the mythic title, doing those types of runs, high tier battlegrounds, fighting all the insane new defenders, at a rank 3 level. On the complete other side of the spectrum, on my free to play account like Spiker, Cosmic Ghost Rider was the very first champion that I ascended on that account because I used him. I had to 100% Act 8 if I wanted to get Valiant. And in Act 8, there are 6 paths in each chapter, and in the first 2 chapters, there's 6 paths per quest. So that's 36. 36 times 2 is 72. So that's 72 lanes, 72 paths in 8.1 and 8.2. In 8.3 and 8.4, they cut it in half, only 3 paths per quest, which is so much better. But for 8.1, 8.2, man, there's just so much to do. I probably spent like 1,000 years just on energy. There's just so much. It was so mind-numbingly boring. So many of those fights. Thank God for this champion. I use CGR for so many of those paths, and I did them so freaking fast. Like, Cosmic Ghost Rider. Doesn't matter where you're at in the game, if you're just starting, if you're at the very end game. CGR is, without a doubt, one of the best Cosmic champions out there. Damage is just off the charts. He definitely has some solid utility as well with the Awakened ability. You know, his Power Lock becomes a Damnation, which, big difference between a Power Lock and Damnation. Damnation still has all the effects of the Power Lock, but it also has a full Nullify, nullifies all buffs, and a full heal block as well. So, like, that's really, really good utility. For example, you know, like Mr. Sinister. CGR can fight him because when he has his Damnation up and he's doing his big damage cycles, Sinister's heal blocked. So he's not, even though CGR is doing massive critical hits, you know, he's heal blocked for that. It was really nice utility. Champions that, you know, have a whole bunch of buffs or something, maybe some indestructible, some unblockable, you know, once you get that Damnation up, they're all gone. You don't have to worry. Like, that is some really nice utility. Plus, you know, he, as a Spirit of Vengeance, he has that full immunity to bleed and incinerate. Solid double immunities right there. When he's fighting villains, he applies an armor break, which is really good. That makes him a super hard Killmonger counter. That's just completely shuts off Killmonger. And it shuts off some other champions too, like Ghost, just as an example there. Completely shut down by armor break. Not that Ghost is a defender at all, but if she was, CGR would be, you know, the super hard counter. The other really cool thing about CGR, you know, is he has so many different ways to play him. Of course, you know, Slayer of Gods is the go-to CGR guy in our community. He has shown us, like, how many different rotations are capable with CGR. So much he can do. So many different ways that you can play him. And, yeah, it's incredible. The only real downside, the only reason why CGR isn't higher is he's really not a defender. That's about it. If he was, I think I'd have him even higher, but the champion that I have higher is Hulkling. I think Hulkling is the best 6-star Cosmic champion in the entirety of the game, entire of MCOC. Hulkling, man, I use this guy so much. I have him on Leg Spiker as well, on both accounts, fully maxed out. He's unawakened on Leg Spiker currently, but he's rank 5, level 65 ascended. Because Hulkling is just, I think, the most useful Cosmic champion in the game. Like, I use Hulkling more on a day-to-day basis than any other Cosmic in the game by quite a bit. CGR, I feel like, is maybe close, especially with Leg Spiker using him more and more, but Hulkling, just for so much. For Battlegrounds, I don't think there's a champion in the game that, like, I'm more comfortable with than Hulkling. Like, he's so simple, yet so effective and so good all around in just about every aspect. Hulkling has the damage. He's chilling in the damage department. Hulkling gets his big damage through his loop, is doing his very simple loop, hitting into block, breaking it, becoming unblockable, and throwing a special 2, doubling up on the fury that you get 1 to 2 buffs. So you just hit ridiculously hard. When you crit, they're fat crits. Hulkling has no way to increase his crit rate. So it's just rare when he crits. But even when he's not critting, like, he's doing so much damage that the non-crits are still super fat. So he's chilling on damage. He's also a great defender. If they don't have a counter, Hulkling can be a real slog. And there's so many different metas where Hulkling can be a really juiced up defender. It's very easy to juice him up as a defender. So he's got defense, he's got offense, he has damage, so much utility. Hulkling has so many immunities. He has base immunity, just fully poison and shock immune. 2 incredible immunities right there, poison and shock. Then he also has the mystical Excelsior Sword, protects Hulkling from energy, granting immunity to power drain, steal, burn, and reducing incoming heal block duration by 2 seconds. Reducing incoming heal block duration is pretty slick. There's a node, for example, like whenever they throw a special, they apply like a heal block, an armor break, and like something else. Hulkling shrugged off that heal block quickly, before the other debuffs, and then it gets squeezed out a little bit of willpower healing from those other debuffs from that node. You know, little things like that I really love about Hulkling. And when he triggers his immunity, he gains a shape-shifting charge. Your shape-shifting charges, you know, just naturally go up. All you have to do is chill, and they'll go up. Another cool thing about Hulkling is just for each unique buff on him, he gains attack rating. So any node that's going to give him more buffs, or any champions that are going to give him buffs, and there are champions that give you buffs, like Ebony Maw's example, he gives a Fury that does nothing on a special one. Destroyer's example, he applies like a rubble buff, I think, something like that. So there's champions and nodes that just apply buffs to you. So Hulkling just gets any area like that, more attack. The Odin pre-fights, you know, that's 3 buffs you can put on Hulkling. Aptitude's not unique, he gets those anyways, but still, just more attack rating. It's really nice. That's just a really nice base. So many nice just passive base abilities that Hulkling has. And then, you know, with his shape-shifting charges, when you hit him, and when he gets hit, he gains regen. So gaining that regen is incredible. In Battlegrounds, like sometimes I literally get hit on purpose to trigger the regen buff to give myself more damage and then to heal back some of the damage that I take. Like for example, Nick Fury on his special one, I'll like evade the beginning, block the middle, and then sometimes on purpose get hit by the end to trigger my regen and also trigger like a disorient debuff on me for just healing. I love Hulkling for Nick Fury. He's my favorite Nick Fury counter, my most comfortable Nick Fury counter. There's so many champions that Hulkling can take in the game. Even champions he shouldn't be able to take. Like he can even do mystic fights sometimes if you do it right, and you're fast and execute it. Like you can nuke mystic fights like Absorbing Man. There was some metas where Hulkling was able to take Sasquatch. There was a recent meta where Hulkling was the best Serpent counter. Like Hulkling is just so insane all around, offensively, defensively, damage, utility. He truly has it all. He has the entire package. Yeah, I genuinely think Hulkling is the best 6-star Cosmic in the game. Him and CGR, I definitely think both of them are better than Herc. Way more useful, especially on like a day-to-day basis, especially for me, in my opinion. Yeah, alright, now let's go talk about the 7-star Cosmic class. So let's transition over to 7 stars here. And this one is a little bit of an honorable mention before we really get into them, and that is Beta Ray Bill. It's hard to truly rank Bill because he just came out. I think he definitely has potential to be on this list, but it's just a little early to really say him being better than some of these really, really tried and true good Cosmic champions that have already proven themselves. But I really like Bill. I really wanted to mention him. I'm really happy that he was the champion for the dual track event. I'm so happy I got him a 7-star. And I really like playing him. He's so much fun. I fought a future Ant-Man War Boss with him last season, and it's definitely one of his best matchups. And he just destroyed it. Just any champion with armor, he's going to be great for. He has a unique armor pulverization effect. He also has grit, which allows him to counter unstoppable, which is very rare. The only other champ that has grit, I think, is Sheilth that I can think of. Yeah, I really like Beta Ray Bill. Finally, so happy that we got like a powerful Thor-like champion in the game. But, alright, moving away from Bill, we have our bottom Cosmic spot here, and that is Venom. So, I think Venom is fantastic, but he's very relic reliant, which is one thing, which is not a bad thing per se. It's great that, you know, Venom got so much better when his own relic was introduced. Venom has the Venom relic. I have this as a 6-star relic, and it's incredible. It really, really boosts Venom's damage in everything that he does. Basically, let's go through this relic here. So when you utilize the Striker button, the last hit inflicts a bleed vulnerability debuff, increasing the potency of future bleed effects by 18%. So you're going to get bigger bleeds. And then if you have the innate ability, for each unique buff on the champion, inflict an indefinite bleed vulnerability passive, increasing the potency of future bleed effects by almost 9%, max 6 buffs. You know, Venom has a lot of unique buffs, so this is so good for him. And then here we have, for each unique buff on the champion, bleed debuffs inflicted by hits landed against a bleeding opponent gain plus duration. What's the other one here? For each unique buff on the champion, hits landed against bleeding opponent gain critical damage rating. That's not too bad either. Then here we have plus Fury, Precision, Cruelty, and So yeah, Fury, Precision, and Cruelty. So his offensive buffs just gain more potency. And then here we have minus almost 10% mutation buff duration and cooking meter charge timer. So you're going to be triggering your buffs faster. And what's this bleed one here? Oh, just, I guess I'm not running this one. This is the one I'm running. Just almost 5% bleed debuff potency. So, like, this relic just really, really juices up Venom's bleeds, and that damage just goes crazy. But without that relic, I don't think Venom would make the list, but with the relic, he definitely does. Really great damage. He's got some nice utility with, like, an armor break on his heavy attack that he can also use to reroll his buffs. He has access to just a lot of buffs, which is great, having a high buff count, but also the unique buffs that he can gain, especially the armor, that allows him to be, like, a Havoc counter, for example. Yeah, man, Venom, really cool, really great, but, yeah, the champions above him on this list are just a bit of a different breed. So, moving on up, we have another Cosmic Champion that I have at rank 2 in Awakened, and that is Adam Warlock. So, Adam is really, really powerful. You know, his playstyle requires a little bit of AI cooperation, but the more experience and playtime you have with Adam, I'm sure the easier it is to manipulate that AI and to make him work. So yeah, I think Adam's definitely a champion that if you like him, the more time you play with him, the better you're going to get. Especially with his pod, you know, knowing when to use that is very good. I'm like such an Adam noob. Like I accidentally activate his pod. That's one of his most powerful abilities. I just accidentally be activating it, wasting it, which is really frustrating. I hate that it's a double tap. I wish it was a triple tap or like a quadruple tap, or you could just pick how many taps you want to activate it, like in his abilities or something. But yeah, can't deny Adams has incredible damage. I used him on one of my first Necropolis paths to fight like an Omega Sentinel in there. He did a really, really good job. It's just like a 6-star. He's got some pretty nice utility. Just, you know, being unblockable is great. That just makes him a great auto block counter. But also with his pod triggering, you know, he can gain energy-based immunities. So that's like shock, cold, incinerate, all that. With his pod activation, he can gain those. That's really, really cool. And yeah, he's great for short fights, great for long fights. Pretty solid defender too. He has just passive power gain, which is a very powerful ability to have, especially as a Cosmic Champion. It's pretty rare in this class. It's more of a mystic ability for the most part. So yeah, highly rate Adam. He's really good. And he is landing in the 4th spot for our 7 stars here. Venom 5th, Adam 4. All right, let's move on to our 3rd spot in the Cosmic 7-star class. That is a champion that I do not have in Hyperion. So, man, Hyperion is really cool. Me and Hyperion actually go way, way back. So, I started playing this game October 2016. Hyperion entered the contest in December of 2016 alongside Howard the Duck, and I was so excited for Hyperion when he first came out because I was like, oh my god, we're getting Marvel Superman, you know, essentially. That's basically what Hyperion is, like the biggest Superman ripoff out there. Like, Superman's from Krypton, Hyperion is from Argon. Superman's weakness is kryptonite, Hyperion's weakness is Argonite. Like, there was originally like a crossover, going to be a crossover between Marvel and DC, and then like Marvel backed out of it, and DC just kind of went ahead with it anyways, and just made like their own characters, or Marvel went ahead with it anyways, and made up like their own version of DC characters. And Hyperion was the Superman one. So, and I thought, you know, because when I think of Superman, one of the first things I think of is bulletproof skin. Who else has bulletproof skin in this game? Oh, Luke Cage. You know, Luke Cage has bleed immunity. So I was thinking like, okay, you know, Hyperion's going to have so many immunities. He's going to have immunity to incinerate because he can like fly in space. You know, he's going to have immunity to bleed because he has, you know, invincible skin. And that never happened. Hyperion has poison immunity, no bleed immunity. I was cheesed when Hyperion was added and he didn't have bleed immunity. I was genuinely like, what? This game's logic makes no sense. Like, why does Luke Cage have bleed immunity for having invulnerable skin, but Hyperion doesn't? Like, there's no way Luke Cage has harder skin than Hyperion. Right? Like, that's what I was thinking. 17-year-old legacy, way back in the day. But yeah, Hyperion, man, He came into the game 2 months after I started playing. And the reason I was saying that was because when you start playing this game, for the first 30 days, you're in the beginner's bracket. And then for 30 to 60 days, you're in the intermediate bracket. And then after 60 days, you're with everyone else in the game. And this was for Arena specifically, back when Arena used to be a much bigger thing. And when I used to grind Arena all day, every day, I grinded for a 4-star Hyperion. Now, keep in mind, I've only been playing the game for a couple months at this point, and 4 stars way back then were really good. So Hyperion was the very final champion that I was able to grind Arena for, basically easily, in the intermediate bracket before I was in with all the whales, And I got it. Got him with a 4-star very early on. So I've had Hyperion for the longest time. I still remember, reading his abilities, and realizing, oh, he can gain fury on his heavy attacks? That's cool. And then I started doing that. I'm like, oh, okay, he's actually pretty good. I was like, maybe I should read abilities more often. I remember thinking that so long ago. And I thought I was like a genius for discovering that Hyperion can gain fury. But speaking of fury and the way Hyperion gains them, that is the biggest thing holding Hyperion back, in my opinion, from being any higher, is that he's so RNG based. With his heavy attack, with his special 1, with his special 2, it's all RNG. It's RNG based on how many furies you get on that heavy. It's RNG based on how many incinerates you get on the special 1. It's RNG based on if you get the stun on the special 2. That's what I really, really dislike about Hyperion. What I've always disliked about him is the RNG reliance. All the other champions on the list here, outside of Venom, have really nothing to do with RNG in their kit. It's you play them a certain way and you get results. But Hyperion, you can play him the exact same way and get different results every time. That's what I really don't like. But he's still very powerful. And when the RNG goes your way, man, it's great. Plus, Hyperion, it just has power gain. Passive power gain, different from Adam. What I meant with Adam, it's just passive power gain that he just gets. With Hyperion and, Arcus, for example, the more common cosmic trope for power gain is actual power gain buffs. That's not really rare in the cosmic class, and that's what Hyperion has, is cosmic power gain buffs, which is great and really powerful, and allows him to take advantage of a unique playstyle of pretty much only using special attacks, which is a very powerful playstyle in a lot of different scenarios. So that is a nice piece of utility. And then on the flip side of things, on defense, that power gain can be lethal because Hyperion just won't throw a special and he'll go red. So yeah, Hyperion, very, very good champion all around. My only problem with him is the RNG. But yeah, he's a fantastic champion and definitely probably one of my maybe my most wanted 7-star that I don't have from the basic pool right now. Alright, that's Hyperion. Now at the, what are we at, number 2 spot. The second best cosmic 7-star in the game, in my opinion, and that is Maestro. So, Maestro, man, is just an absolute animal, an absolute unit. He is so good on defense. On attack, he's alright, he's okay, but he's literally that good on defense to warrant rank 3. I took him to rank 3, and I can do nothing but recommend it. If you're interested in Battlegrounds at all, take your Maestro up. I have this is as high as Maestro can go on my main account. On my second account, like Spiker, my completely free-to-play account, I have the 6-star Maestro, all maxed out, rank 5, ascended, sigged up. Because I think Maestro is worth it. I think he's that good. He's one of the best defenders in the game. He has a massive health pool of over 100,000, and he has a very defensively built kit. He has multiple immunities, so it's tough to counter him because he is immune to so many different things. And just the longer the fight goes on, the more that he builds up. And once he builds up, he gains Pierce, which, is going to do a lot of block damage. He gains Glancing. He gains 100% Glancing on basic hits, so you really can only do damage through special attacks once he has that. Then he gains Cosmic Radiation, so that's when you're standing near him, you just start taking damage. And then he's also going to start like rooting you on his special attacks too. And then with the Awaken ability, which would definitely make him a much better attacker, he would just ramp faster with his special attacks, gaining Neutronium. Also refreshes his Furies. So right now, if you play Unduped Maestro, you have to use Special 2, then Special 1s, then when your Furies run out, go back for Special 2, then repeat. But if he's Awakened, just one Special 2, and then all Special 1s, and then refresh. There's no need to ever go back to the Special 2. The Awakened ability is a really big deal. Plus, it makes him an even better defender, giving him more block penetration per Neutronium. So Maestro, I think, is the second strongest Cosmic Champ in the game. Yeah, I think he's that broken. And then at the number 1 spot, we have Serpent. Just one of the most busted, broken champions in the entirety of MCOC. This guy has seriously just really messed up the game. He's really messed up Battlegrounds. Like, I've never seen another champion have as big of an impact on the end game than Serpent. Never in all my time playing the game. He is just that crazy of a defender. And what has truly made him so bad is the metas as of late. We had one meta, it was the RNG meta, where basically every time it's called a little node called Archaos. Anytime either champion throws a special, both champions get a random buff and debuff applied. Buff or debuff applied from like a specific pool. And one effect in each of those pools, in the debuff pool and in the buff pool, it was crushed and unblockable. So Serpent, the way he works is his special attacks cannot be evaded. And the first part's unblockable. You can get out of the way of the first part, but then you pretty much are forced to block the rest. Which really, and you can't evade it. There's nothing you can do to evade it. So you just have to eat the block damage, which sucks. But it's manageable, sort of, until you throw in more unblockable and crushed. If you're crushed and you can't dex, what are you? You're screwed. If you can't dex and he's unblockable, what are you? You're screwed. And it's just stupid. It's really stupid. I really hope Serpent gets rebalanced. And I really hope... I have some ideas for his rebalancing. I was debating making like a dedicated video talking about it, but I feel like now's a good time to talk about it. Anyways, if I was, working on Serpent's rebalancing, I would make him immune to any other unblockable or any crushed during his special attacks. Serpent's abilities should not interact with any other unblockable or crushed in the game for his undexable specials, in my opinion. That I would change. In the very last meta, we had a node called Extend, which makes the opponent's debuffs and buffs last, I think it was 150% longer. So Serpent is kind of like Hercules in the fact that he has an immortality, a death immunity, if you will. And it's based on the SIG, just like Hercules, and the more SIG levels, the longer it goes. Again, just like Hercules. A champion that Kabam, regret making so much. And so, death immunity at max SIG for 8 seconds. Now take that 8 seconds and add the extend on it. So 150% of 8 seconds. I think that would be what? 20 seconds? Because 100% of 8 seconds would be another 8 seconds. 50% of 8 seconds would be 4 seconds. So yeah. That takes his, at max SIG, his death immunity debuff, or his death immunity buff, which, he's unkillable with this active, and it cannot be staggered or nullified, takes it from 8 seconds all the way to 20 seconds. Or whatever it exactly goes up to. it was insane. I just perma-banned Serpent the entirety of last season, even though, I have a 6-star, all Sig 200 and Ascended. Because I just didn't want to deal with that. Like, it's just stupid. It's just not fun. I didn't want to put, 3-4 Serpent counters in my deck to deal with that. No, I just banned him. Because I don't want to deal with that garbage. Yeah, it's just, it's so much. And, when he triggers that death immunity, he also gains regen and power gain. And again, with the extend, the power gain was just unreal. His power just kept shooting. Like, you'd bait a special 2, and by the time the animation's over, he's already at another special 2. Like, even without any nodes, I think Serpent's healing and power gain is just too much. It's just way too much at the end of the fight. Like, if you don't have someone to counter his healing and you kill him, let's say you have someone to counter the power control, but you don't have someone to counter the healing. You take him, you trigger his death immunity. By the time it's over, he's at like 25% health. He gets like a quarter of his life back. It's just so much, and it's so much power gain too, all at the end of the fight. I just think it's way overtuned, man. Way overtuned. He's just so much on defense. He's just too much on defense, in my opinion. I've had Serpent since he came out. I bought the early access bundle. I've ranked him up. I've been fighting him ever since he came out. Been dealing with him ever since he came out, and I just think he's too much. It's not like I've been banning him since he came out, like similar with Photon. No, I've been fighting against him. Just only last season did I decide to really, truly perma-ban him. Also now, 7-star rank 3 Serpents are becoming a lot more common. So if they have a higher star level Serpent, then I'm more inclined to ban it as well. Just because my Serpent feels tiny as a 6-star now. Because the block proficiency on the 7-star and the challenger rating increase is a big, big deal on a champion whose specials you can't dex. And you're forced to take that block damage. The challenger rating and stat increase is massive. So that is Serpent, the best cosmic 7-star in the game. Now let's go take a look at the full top 8 list. Alright guys, real quick before we take a look at the top 8 list, I forgot to talk about one champion in particular who's tied with another champion, and that is Null. Null is rank 3 for me right now, but he's one of the few rank 3s that I kind of regret taking up, and that I would use a rank down ticket on if I had the ability to. Null's the type of champ that you really want to invest all the way in, especially with his Sig, and I don't want to give him any more Sig stones. So I think this rank up, will age well, but right now, not the biggest fan. But Null is a great champ. He's just not the, he's no CGR Hulkling when it comes to Battlegrounds. He's really not. He can be alright in certain metas, like for the armor meta, he was pretty good, turning that into degen and stuff. But I would say Battleground isn't really where Null excels. He excels much more in long-form content where he can really build and ramp up and do the big damage. But yeah, definitely love Null, and he definitely deserves to be on the list. So here is the top 8 list. We got Venom and Null at the bottom in that number 8 spot. Then we have Adam Warlock at number 7, Hyperion number 6, Maestro number 5, Serpent number 4, then Hercules number 3, CGR number 2, and Hulkling number 1. So we have 3 6-stars at the top of the Cosmic class, just above all these 7-stars. Which is pretty crazy. That's a feat. That is definitely the most 6-stars at the top of the class in any one of my ranking lists here. So, yeah, man, the Cosmic class is seriously just a different breed. That is going to go ahead and wrap it up for this one. This one was a little bit longer, so I'm going to end it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more content. We only have one more class rankings left with Mystic, and then we have 2 more videos in this series, the top 10 6-star champions in MCOC, and then top 10 7-star champions in MCOC. Stay tuned for those videos. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Drop a like, subscribe if you want to support that. We all have a great day. Peace.